What if I told you an 80-year-old man ditched 5 daily medications just by changing one habit that took less than 10 minutes a day? I've seen thousands of seniors come through my clinic each with a long list of pills and a quiet acceptance that this is just how aging works. But one patient proved that belief wrong. He was 80. 5 pills a day. Blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, joint pain, sleep issues. His mornings were a routine of swallowing more medicine than food. But then something changed. He looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I want my life back. I don't want to survive, I want to live." So we made a change. Not another prescription, not a new supplement, just one powerful habit practiced every morning. And within 90 days, under close medical supervision, he gradually said goodbye to all 5 pills. No gimmicks, no magic, just science-backed simplicity. If you're over 50 and tired of being told your only future is more medication, this story is for you. Don't miss what might be the most important 5 minutes you'll hear this year. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment to share the habit you're building today. Your health is your greatest wealth. Part 1. The weight of 5 pills. At age 80, his mornings didn't start with coffee or sunlight. They started with a pill organizer. 5 tiny compartments, 5 big problems. One for blood pressure, another for cholesterol, one for blood sugar, a fourth for joint pain, and the last one a sleep aid that never really helped him sleep. He wasn't alone. Nearly 40% of Americans over 65 take 5 or more medications daily, according to the National Institute on Aging. But nobody talks about what it feels like to live that way. He described it as carrying a weight that never lifted mentally and physically. The pills helped, sure. His numbers on paper looked stable. But inside, he felt like a hollow version of himself. He had moments of dizziness that made walking across the kitchen feel like a tightrope. His muscles ached from fatigue, not from effort. There were days he didn't want to leave the house, not because of illness, but because of the fog those pills wrapped around his brain. His name was Walter, a retired school principal, sharp as a tack in his younger days, always the first to arrive and the last to leave. Now he struggled to read more than a few pages without losing focus. "I take my meds. I sit down and I feel like I'm watching my life happen to someone else," he once told me. One afternoon, he came into my office with a list, not a grocery list, not a to-do list. It was a list of side effects he'd been quietly tracking: fatigue, dry mouth, constipation, swelling in the ankles, blurry vision in the morning. He wasn't trying to complain, he was trying to understand. He said, "Doc, I don't know if the cure is worse than the disease anymore." That hit me hard. Most of his medications were necessary, prescribed carefully over the years. But when 5 medications start stealing your energy, your clarity, your independence, that's not health, that's survival. And Walter didn't want to survive. He wanted to live. In that moment, everything shifted. Not because he rejected medicine, but because he was finally ready to partner with his body, not just patch it. What came next wasn't a miracle, it was a habit. One so simple you might not believe how powerful it became. But before we get to that, you need to see what happened when he made his choice. Because change didn't start with a habit, it started with a decision, and that decision began with 5 pills on a kitchen counter and a man who said enough. Part 2. The fall that never happened but changed everything. He was heading down the stairs with a cup of tea in one hand and yesterday's newspaper tucked under his arm. It was just another morning, the same routine, the same creaky railing, but halfway down, everything went sideways. His vision blurred. A wave of lightheadedness surged through him like a power outage. His knees buckled. For one terrifying second, his body didn't feel like it belonged to him. The cup slipped from his hand and shattered on the tile below. By some miracle, he caught the banister just in time. His wife rushed in. He waved her off, embarrassed. But inside, he was shaken. That moment haunted him not just because of what almost happened, but because of what it revealed. He wasn't in control anymore. His life was being dictated by numbers, pills, and side effects. This wasn't aging gracefully. This was spiraling quietly. Low blood pressure from his meds was the likely culprit. It's not uncommon. Studies show that antihypertensive drugs, while crucial for many, can increase the risk of falls and fainting in older adults. The irony, the pills meant to prevent strokes could end up causing a hip fracture. That evening, Walter sat across from me in my office. His voice was steady, but something in his eyes had changed. Gone was the passive acceptance. In its place was a quiet fire. He said, "I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. Watching every step, afraid of my own body, waiting for the next pill to kick in or wear off. Doc, I'm not trying to be young again. I just want to feel like myself." He wasn't asking for a shortcut. He was asking for a way forward, something real, something sustainable. We talked for nearly an hour, not just about his medications, but about his habits, his fears, his goals. And slowly a new picture began to form, not of a man defined by diagnoses, but of someone willing to do the work to reclaim his health, one small shift at a time. It wasn't about rejecting medicine. It was about reclaiming agency. And for Walter, that one near fall, just a few seconds of lost balance, was the moment everything came into focus. Sometimes it doesn't take a tragedy to change your life. Just a crack. Just enough to let the light in. Part 3. The 10-minute habit that changed everything. For most people, changing their life sounds overwhelming. Like they need a new diet, a gym membership, or a miracle supplement. But what Walter started doing took no equipment, no money, and just 10 minutes every morning. What he got in return was more energy, clearer thinking, and the freedom to live without 5 medications. It began the morning after his near fall. The sunrise was soft, filtered through the living room window. He stood barefoot on the rug, the house still quiet. He placed one hand on his chest, the other on his belly, and closed his eyes. No phone, no music, just breath. 4 seconds in, hold for 4, exhale for 6. He did that for 3 minutes. It felt strange at first, too simple to matter. But within the first week, he noticed something. His mornings didn't feel as rushed. The dizziness came less often. His thoughts, usually scattered and sluggish, were steadier. After his breathing, he slipped on a light jacket and stepped outside. The air was still crisp. 7 minutes. That's all he gave himself. No power walking. Just slow, mindful steps along the edge of the garden. The sun kissed his face, warming his skin, lifting his mood. A few neighbors waved. He waved back. This routine became sacred. Science supports what Walter felt. Diaphragmatic breathing, also known as deep belly breathing, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps lower heart rate and blood pressure. It also reduces cortisol, the stress hormone linked to inflammation and blood sugar spikes. And those 7 minutes under the morning sun, they weren't just pleasant, they were powerful. Morning sunlight helps regulate circadian rhythm, boosting melatonin at night for deeper sleep. It also triggers the body's production of vitamin D, which supports bones, muscles, and immunity. After 3 weeks, Walter stopped needing his sleep aid. After 6 weeks, he noticed less joint pain in the mornings. At 8 weeks, his blood pressure, once volatile, began to level out. By week 12, his fasting blood sugar was lower than it had been in years. His doctor monitored everything. Every adjustment was cautious, deliberate. First, they cut his cholesterol med in half, then one of the 2 blood pressure pills. By the end of month 3, Walter was off all 5 medications. His energy back, his focus sharp, his mood lighter. He wasn't chasing youth, he was reclaiming vitality. And here's the remarkable part. He didn't do anything extreme. No drastic diets, no grueling workouts, just breath and sunlight. A rhythm so simple it became second nature. He shared something with me once that stuck. It wasn't the walking or the breathing alone, he said. It was that I finally took time to check in with myself before I just treated symptoms. Now I listen. Those 10 minutes each day became his anchor, his reset, his way of telling his body, you matter. And the truth is, it's not just Walter. Study after study confirms the impact of consistent mindful movement and breathwork, especially in older adults. One trial published in Hypertension showed that just 5 minutes a day of slow, controlled breathing lowered systolic blood pressure by an average of 9 points in seniors. What's more, walking in natural light, even briefly, has been linked to reduced symptoms of depression, better glucose control, and improved balance, all crucial for aging well. Walter didn't need to be perfect. He just needed to be consistent. He still has that same morning routine today. 3 minutes of breathing, 7 minutes of walking, 10 minutes of quiet transformation, every single day. And maybe you're watching this while sitting on your couch, unsure where to begin. Maybe you've been told that your health will only decline from here. But Walter's story says otherwise. It says start small, show up, listen to your body, And most of all, believe that you are not too old, too sick, or too late to change your life. Because sometimes 10 minutes is all it takes. Part 4. The science behind the habit. Most people assume that to fix their health, they need to do something drastic. But sometimes the simplest habits can unlock the deepest healing. Walter's routine 3 minutes of deep breathing and 7 minutes of walking might sound almost too easy. But when you look closer, the science tells a powerful story. When Walter began deep belly breathing each morning, he wasn't just calming his mind. He was activating a biological switch. The parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and restore system, gets triggered by slow, controlled breathing. This system slows the heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and tells the body you are safe. In fact, researchers at Harvard Medical School found that deep breathing can reduce stress hormones like cortisol and promote a state of physical calm. For someone like Walter, who had struggled with spikes in blood pressure and moments of lightheadedness, this shift was life-changing. It was like taking the foot off the gas pedal every single morning. Then came the sunlight. Those quiet steps outside weren't just for fresh air. Morning sun exposure stimulates the body's natural production of vitamin D through the skin. And for older adults, this is vital. Vitamin D supports bone strength, boosts the immune system, and helps regulate mood. Low vitamin D levels have been linked to fatigue, depression, and even cognitive decline. Walter didn't know the exact science when he began, but he did notice how different he felt after just a week of greeting the sunrise. He had more clarity, his joints ached less, his sleep felt deeper. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine confirms this effect. Exposure to natural morning light helps regulate the circadian rhythm, leading to more restorative sleep at night. Lastly, those 7 minutes of walking weren't about burning calories. They were about circulation. Gentle movement in the morning gets the blood flowing, wakes up the muscles, and improves insulin sensitivity. That means better blood sugar control throughout the day. Walter's blood sugar, once hovering just above pre-diabetic levels, began to drop steadily. His doctor was surprised, not because it was impossible, but because it happened without medication adjustments. It was his body doing what it was built to do once given the right environment. One day, Walter told me something I'll never forget. For the first time in years, I don't feel like a patient. I feel like a person again. The power of this habit wasn't in the steps or the breaths alone. It was in the message it sent to his body: slow down, reconnect, rebuild. It wasn't therapy. It wasn't exercise. It was something in between, something deeply human. And here's the truth. We often underestimate the body's ability to heal. But given the right cues, calm, breath, morning light, gentle movement, it will rise to the occasion. Walter's transformation didn't require more pills. It required presence and a choice every morning to breathe, to move, and to step into the day on his own terms. No one lives forever, but we each have the power to choose how we live each day. Not every pill is the enemy, but not every habit is harmless either. The truth is, the smallest daily choices often shape the rest of our lives. And sometimes all it takes is one simple habit to rewrite the story. Maybe it's 3 minutes of stillness. Maybe it's stepping outside before the world wakes up. Maybe it's finally listening to what your body has been trying to tell you for years. Because health isn't built in hospitals, it's built in moments. Quiet, consistent, meaningful moments. Walter didn't need a miracle, he needed a mirror. And what he saw day by day was a man slowly reclaiming the life he thought he had lost. You can do the same. One breath, one walk, one morning at a time. If this helped you, don't forget to subscribe. Your health is your greatest wealth.